Hey, good morning and welcome to Daf Yomi, Maseches Megillah. Daf? What Daf? Daf test number 9. I'm still with my scarf here because it's kind of cold outside. Supposed to rain for like 3-4 days here. Continuous rain. Shmuel recently became a weatherman.
Right.
He's featured on Khan 11 News.
That's right.
He speaks only in Hebrew. You want to give
I
a
can tell you right
forecast?
now. Right now, I can tell you it's raining.
You want to give like a forecast in Hebrew? Say it like Hebrew.
עכשיו יורד, יורד.
Yored ma.
המטר,
Geshem, no?
הגשם.
Matar. What are you in biblical Hebrew or something? Yorel Malkush.
עכשיו יורד המטאורייט.
Meteorites. When was the last meteorite that hit Earth? Do you know? There was actually an incident in I think it was 1954. I think it was in Alabama or something like that. Either Alabama or Oklahoma, I'm not sure.
Yeah?
Yeah, a woman was hit in the head by a meteorite.
No.
I think she was okay. She was actually hit in the head. It separated into a couple pieces. She refused to
She separated?
benefit. No, when it hit her, the ground, it broke into a couple pieces.
She refused to.
She refused to benefit financially from it. She wouldn't. She donated to a museum.
Wow.
But someone else who got a different piece, he benefited greatly financially. I think he sold it for maybe millions of dollars. This
Really?
piece of a meteorite. It's very rare for a meteorite to hit Earth to actually crash down into a habitable place, a place where people live. Very unusual. Shmuel, when's the next meteorite going to happen on Earth?
Well, I think
Say it in Hebrew.
It's gonna go kaboom. It's gonna be the size of a big station wagon, and it's gonna go kaboom. We don't know where it's gonna hit.
All right, I've got my Glenlivet today, of course, in Maseches Megillah. The movement, drank a half a shear, Chazi shear of Chayav and Smooth Puria on Maseches Megillah. Glenlivet today. Shmuel is going to drink with me because I have someone else to drink with me, so it's good. Perfect. Pour a little bit in here for me, and a little bit for Shmuel. He doesn't want too much.
No, I don't want.
And you know what? We're going to dedicate today. We're going to make a l'chaim today because Shmuel becoming a weatherman for Khan 11 News.
That's right.
Here's the 2 shots. This is a little smaller than mine. Doesn't want so much. But we're going to celebrate l'chaim. Let's do l'chaim for you becoming a weatherman. L'chaim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu
Wow.
Smooth going down. Single malt. Nothing like it. Mazel tov, Shmuel.
Thank you.
And becoming, during Maseches Megillah, he became a weatherman.
That's right.
He forecasted that it's going to rain for the next 3 or 4 days, right?
That's right.
Shmuel, he's won a couple of accolades for that,
That's right. But
including the Lifetime Achievement Award from the President of Israel. President of Israel, Yitzhak Herzog. He's going to be giving Shmuel later tonight the award for the best forecaster of weather. You know what's amazing about Shmuel's weather forecasting is that he mixes in words that you never would have expected. Like he calls it, it's like calling Geshem, he calls it Matar.
But
Right, Mashav Ruach.
I'm not going to stand outside in this weather. They want me to stand outside and give the forecast standing outside.
I heard you stand outside, but you wear your hat outside to protect yourself, your black hat to protect yourself from the rain. Shmuel is setting fashion trends also. People no longer are using umbrellas. They're wearing black hats now during the rain. Even people that are not Haredi or not yeshivish, they're taking on the fashion trend to wear
a bag on the hat. You have to wear
yes,
a
some
bag.
people, the traditional fashion trend, they wear these plastic covers on their hats so they don't ruin the hats. So,
Right.
but it doesn't look as good as just a plain black hat. So I prefer wearing the black hat without the plastic cover. But Shmuel, because he's a stylish guy, sometimes he does it with the plastic cover.
That's right.
Sometimes without the plastic cover. Look at this. His second drinking is because he's a weatherman. Drink up.
L'chaim.
L'chaim.
Oh,
All right.
this is really strong.
All right, we got to start now. Mishnah.
Mishnah. Let's go.
5 minute mark. That's how much time I have to banter. All right,
Okay.
5 minute mark. Mishnah on the bottom of Chedam Beis. Amen. Svarim with tefillin and mezuzos. There's no difference between Sefer Torahs and tefillin and mezuzos. Talking about the words that are written in them. Elisha Svarim Nichtavim B'chol Lashon. Sefer Torahs could be written according to this Mishnah in any language. Tefillin and mezuzos Einon Chtavos Ela Ashuris. Tefillin and mezuzos have to be written in Ashuris, which is Hebrew, but not only Hebrew, it's the type of Hebrew that the way it's written in the Sefer Torah, the way commonly found in the Sefer Torah, the old script. The holds, even Sefer Torah is only Greek. You can only write it in Greek, not in Arabic or not in English or not, So that would exclude the Bible of the St. James Bible. King James Bible, right, which was written in the 1600s, translated into English. Previously, it was translated into Latin. What was that called? Well, first it was translated into Greek. We're going to see in the Gemara Septuagint, and it was translated into Latin, and then it was translated into English, the King James in the 1600s. All right, very good. All right, Gemara Halatot from Begidin or Tamei Segedayim Zevzeh Shavit. But in regards to other halachas, actually, someone's calling me. Who's calling me here?
Your friend.
I don't know who this is. I don't know who it
Maybe it's
is.
something to do with the lottery or something.
We're going to leave this call for now. Halatot from Megidin, Ulatame Esayadayim Zevzeh Shavin, in order to sew it with the sinews of cows. You have to do that for Sefer Torah also, and it's all Sefer Torah is Matame Yadayim. It is makes your hands tame. We learn on Masechah Shabbos. If you touch Svarim HaKadoshim, they made a Gzeira. You have to do Netilas Yadayim, so you shouldn't store Svarim Kadoshim next to your food when you bring the mice there. But Svarim Nechtavim B'chol Lashon. Svarim Sefer Torah written in any language. Raminu, the Rashi says maybe not. Mikra Shekasav Targum, Targum Shekasav Mikra. If you have Mikra, which is the old-fashioned Hebrew, which you translated it into Aramaic. Targum Shekasav Mikra. You had Aramaic words that were translated into Hebrew words. So Kasav Ivri. And Ivri is Ivris, like Hebrew, but I guess it would be the modern day script of Hebrew, the way it's written nowadays. Wrote that for the words of Sefer Torah. If Sefer Torah is written in these languages, it's not Matam Yadayim. There's no kedusha. Ad Shechter Muksav Ashuris Al Sefer. It has to be written Ashuris, the way it's written in the Sefer Torah. Al Sefer on parchment, with Dio, and has to be written with black ink. So you see that Sefer Torah has to be written Ashuris. Hamarava Lo Kasha. Top of Teram and Aleph. There's no problem. Kan b'gufan shalano, kan b'gufan shalahen. Our Mishnah, which allows the Sefer Torah in Lashon, and that's talking about even writing in English, but you just transliterate it. You write English, but you transliterate the English. You just spell like the word Sefer. You would spell it Sefer. You write it in English, but it's gufan shalano because I'm sorry. Gufan shalano is where you will use the Hebrew language Ashuris. You would lose Sefer. You would translate the English book, right? But you write Beis Vav Kuf, right? Yeah. Book. It's in English, but right. Kan b'gufan shalahen. But the Brisa says you can't. It has to be Ashuris. That's talking about if you write it in English, you write the word book. Book. Amar le Abaye. Abaye says to this answer, my okimtal. What are you talking about? The Brisa b'gufan shalahen. Sorry, the Mishnah that's talking about gufan shalahen. My year of mikra shekasu. The Brisa is talking about gufan shalahen. It's talking about when you write it with book. Mikra shekasu targum and targum shekasu mikra. What does it have to say if you wrote a pasuk of Hebrew? You translate it into Aramaic or Aramaic to Hebrew. Afilu mikra shekasu mikra. Of targum shekasu targum. Now, if you use gufan shalahen, you use the letters of English, let's say, right?
Right.
So that would be a problem because let's say gufan shalahen, I think, is talking about when you use the Sefer, you transliterate it, right? Sefer. Not Sefer. I'm going to go back on what we said before. Book. Gufan shalahen that's gufan shalahen. You're using the English letters. What does it matter? Even if you just write Hebrew, you use those Hebrew. Why does it have to bring in Aramaic? Mikra goes from Mikra. You just used the English letter. There's a real problem. Nami, Dagesani Achik to an Ashuris, I'll say video. It says it has to be Ashuris. Elokash. So we have a different answer. The answer of the Mishnah and the Brayz. Rabbanon is the author of our Mishnah. It's any language. Shmuel is the author of the Brayz. He's the second opinion of our Mishnah. Who holds everything is good, even except anything. Everything is not good except Hebrew and Greek. So why does the Brayz say only Ashuris? The Brayz should include Greek also. Elokasha, a third answer. Kam Misfar and Kam Tefillin Mezuzos. The Brayz was talking Tefillin Mezuzos, like I said in the Mishnah. That has to be in Hebrew. Sfarim, Sefer Torahs could be in any language. Tefillin Mezuzos my time. Mezuzos, why do they have to be in written Hebrew? Mishum Dechsev Behu Vehayu. It says if a Hayu, Rosh Kriya Shema, which is written in Tefillin Mezuzos, we darshan Baviyas on you. It has to be the original way. It was written. It was written. The Sefer Torah was given in Ashuris. My Targum Shekas from Mikra. So if we're talking about, the Brayz is talking about Tefillin Mezuzos, what is an example of an Aramaic word in Tefillin Mezuzos that you wrote in Hebrew? Shekas from Mikra. Ika Bishlam Torah. Ika. In the Torah we find Aramaic words. Yagar Sadusa, by the peace treaty between Lavan and Yaakov. It says Yagar Sadusa, which is the mountain of Edus, which is of testimony, which is in Aramaic. Elahacha, my Targum Ika. And in Tefillin Mezuzos, what Aramaic is there? Elokash, a fourth answer. Kam Megillah, Kam Sfarim. Brayz was talking about Megillah's Esther. That has to be written in Hebrew. Sfarim, regular Sefer Torah can be written in any language. Megillah, my time. And what's the reason it has to be written in Hebrew? It has to be written the way it was written. It says in Megillah, like they wrote it, right? They spoke it. Like Ashuris, my Targum Shkas from Mikra. Fine, so what is Aramaic that you wrote Hebrew in their Megillah? Amar of Papa, Minishma Pit Gam Melech. It says the word Pit Gam is the Aramaic translation of Dvar, is the word of the Melech. The Hebrew word Yakar is an Aramaic word for the word Kavod. They should give honor to their husband. Ravashi Amar. Ravashi gives a different answer. That Brayz is talking about other Sfarim, meaning Nach, right? Nevi'im and Ksuvim, as opposed to the Torah, right? Tanakh, the Chamisha Kumshay Torah. That could be written in any language. Rabbi Yehuda, it's Rabbi Yehuda decided Tefillin Mezuzos ain't Tav Ella. Ashuris, Tefillin Mezuzos have to be written Ashuris, Rabbi Seinu Hetiru Yevanis. And the rabbis permitted Yevanis. V'achsiv v'hayu Hetiru Yevanis, that would be Rosh Gamliel. V'achsiv v'hayu. But it says v'hayu. How could we say the Mishnah is talking about Tefillin and Mezuzos? How could we say Rabbi Seinu is Rosh Gamliel? He allows Yavanis to be written for Tefillin and Mezuzos. It says V'hayu, it has to be in Hebrew. Aleim Svarim Nichtavim B'Cholasham Rabbi Seinu Etiru Yavanis. You have to say the meaning of the Brayz is that Sfarim, Sefer Torah is written in any language. Or saying Rosh Gamliel, he tir Yavanis, a lot of Yavanis. He tir Michalatan Asar. According to what we're saying, is the Rabban argued, Rabban allowed everything. He tiru sounds like Rabban on Asar to everything, and he was Matri even Yavanis. Rabbi Seinu, he tir Yavanis, Michalatan Asar. Elaima, Rabbi Seinu, lo he tir Shechtu El Yavanis. Rabbi Seinu is Rosh Gamliel, according to Rabbi Yehuda, holds only Yavanis. Usanya Amar Rabbi Yehuda, Avshtir Rabbi Seinu Yavanis, lo Yitiru El B'Sefer Torah. They only allowed Greek, they allowed a Sefer Torah, Mishum Maise the Talmai HaMelech. The incident that happened with King Talmai, who is in English Ptolemy, right? The Macedonian Empire of Alexander the Great, when it ended around 350 BC. It was divided among his commanders in his army into two: the Seleucid Empire and the Ptolemaic Empire. The Ptolemaic Empire took most of Egypt. They're both Greek empires. Alexander the Great he was from Macedonia, but he was in charge of the Greek Empire. It was broken down to the Seleucid, which occupied most of Israel, and the Ptolemaic, which was parts. Sometimes they occupied Israel. Sometimes they had wars between Seleucid and Ptolemaic. Ptolemaic was the king of Egypt in that area in Africa. Tanya Ma'aseh b'Talmai HaMelech. Once Talmai HaMelech was ruling over Eretz Yisrael. He took 72 elders and he put them in 72 houses, separate houses. He didn't tell them why he put them in these houses. Kisvuli Torah's Moshe Rab. And he said, write for me the Torah of Moshe, your Rebbe. Hashem gave a miraculous divine intervention that they all were mechaben to write to correct certain things in the Torah so that it shouldn't be the Talmud shouldn't make fun of the Torah. Elokim, one of the things they changed, Elokim bara Bereshis. Doesn't say Bereshis bara Elokim. It said Bereshis bara Elokim. You might think something called Bereshis created God. So therefore it said Elokim kara Bereshis. Elokim created in the first, there is one God. Ese Adam B'Tsalmo B'Tsalem Mus. It says Ese as opposed to Nasa. Nasa is Hashem sort of created, he asked his Milachim for advice. And that would look bad in the eyes of Tamai Amel. As Hashem decided on his own. Vayichal b'yom hashishi, vayishbos b'yom hashvi. And on the Torah it says, Vayichal b'yom hashvi, that Hashem finishes work on Shvi. It sounds like he's finished in the middle of Shabbos. We know it means he finished exactly at the time when Ben Hashmashos within Shabbos. But he would make a mistake. We would think that Hashem worked on Shabbos. Zachar nekeva baro, v'loksiv baram. It says Zachar nekeva, Hashem created one person who had half of the person, his front side was male, his back side was female. If you created him, if it says Baram, it would be like Hashem created two people, it would be two Adam Arishons. Hava Erda ve'evel Hashem Svasim. It says Nerda, like I said before, Nerda, Hashem consulted with the ministering angels. Erda sounds like Hashem did it himself. V'tizcha Sarah b'krovea. Sarah laughed among her relatives, because if it said Bekirba, like it's supposed, like it says in the Torah, then Talmud Amelech would comment that it's weird that Sarah was punished. Avram also laughed Bekirbo, and Sarah left Bekirba. They both laughed inwardly. Why was Sarah punished more than Avram? They wouldn't understand that. Therefore, he said Bekrovea, that she did it. She laughed among her relatives, and therefore it was public. So therefore, she was punished more. She was treated more harshly. Kiba apo hargu shor virtonam ikru avos. It says in Yaakov when he was talking the Shimon Levi and the Brachos and Arshas Veichi last week, he ba'apam hargu ish, really says in the Torah. They would call them murderers if they said ish. Therefore, they said only killed an animal. But you can Moshe as isha is banava you can we carry on something which carries people. You would think it's a camel, not something a donkey, which would be the meaning for a leader to ride on. A Moshe of Bnei Yisrael, Asher Yishu Mitzrayim Muvshar Ratzos Arba Me'al Shana. They changed it from 400 years to 430 years to 400 years. Because the promise was to be enslaved only for 400 years. 430 years actually counts from the Gzeira, not the actual time when they actually went into enslavement. This is talking about these young, noble, Bachrim in Klal Yisrael who did inappropriate things at Har Sinai. It says they ate and drank whatever at Har Sinai, at the Maimon Har Sinai. So one pasuk says Sile nobles, one pasuk says Narim. So they'd be confused why one place they're called nobles, one place is called Narim. Therefore, they wrote the same word Zatute, which can mean either one. They wrote for the same word Lo Shalach Yado on the top of Keramid Beis now. L'chamor echad mehem nasasi, l'chemed echad mehem nasasi. He says chamor, right? If it just said Moshe says that I didn't take one chamor, it sounds like he didn't take a donkey, but he took other things. L'chemed, desirous thing. I didn't take anything desirous. I didn't take anything. Asher chalak Hashem l'kecha. Atem l'chayir l'chol ha'amim. As Hashem gave avodah zara, it says l'chayir l'chol ha'amim. It says to be a light to all the amim. If it would have said l'chalik l'chol ha'amim, to destroy all the amim, so then they would have said that it was only given avodah zara would be mutter for it says Asher chalak Hashem l'kecha atem. It's only Klal Yisrael in the real pasuk. It says l'chol ha'amim to show that avodah zara is also for everyone. Vayilech vayavod Elohim ha'achim asher lo tzivisi la'ovdam. Because it says Hashem, I commanded them not to ovdam. The pasuk says asher lo tzivisi la'asosam, not to do them. If it sounded la'asosam, it would have sounded like Hashem. They existed against Hashem's will. So now, the way they were now is that Hashem, they existed. Hashem wanted them to exist, but Hashem commanded them not to be worshipped. When it mentions some of the animals that are forbidden, it doesn't call it arnebes. This is the name of a rabbit. It's the way of saying a rabbit in Hebrew. But her name, his wife's name was Arnevet. Imagine having your wife's name is called Rabbit.
Rabbit.
Bunny Rabbit. A bunny rabbit. Are women really rabbits? All right, Lovis, you want to drink with us? He doesn't want to drink. What? He doesn't want to drink with us. All right. Arnevis, his wife is called Arnevis, so they trained the Siros Ragayim, someone has short feet, so they wouldn't say that Shalom Yomar Sach will be Yehudim Beitilu Shem Yishtim Torah, so they shouldn't say that the Jews are making fun of me and they threw my name's wife into the Torah to make fun of me. Wife's name, yeah. Says in our Mishnah that the Sefer Torah can be written not just in Hebrew but also or the Rabbanan say any language. He says they only allowed Hebrew and Greek also. You could actually write a Torah in Greek. Did you know that, Shmuel?
No.
What's the lachva? What's his reasoning? Hashem should extend the power of Yefes and should dwell among the tents of Shem. Shem is Semites. This is where we get Klal Yisrael from. You want to drink with us? I'm doing a new thing, a Chatzi Shir.
Okay? Yeah.
Come drink, have a shot. It's Chatzi Shir because we're learning Masechus Megillah, but it's not Purim yet.
Well,
So Chayav Inish the Psumei. You want to have?
It's the roof.
Oh. So therefore, we're going to have to give you a third of a shir. You want to have a third of a shir?
Wait, what is it?
It's Glenlivet. It's good stuff. Single malt.
Okay.
Come on, just drink for this. This is part of the new
so-
program, the new movement. Drink. We don't drink a whole share because it's Bechira, but it's not a sea. It's not Purim.
I
You're
have
learning
to
this stuff.
warm me up.
It's not very.
That's not very healthy, I know.
We have to
If
give him a
I-
third
You know, I'm
because
going to buy a microwave oven for you. I stay here.
this is a third of a shot because you have to come in the camera. We can't see you.
Okay.
Yeah, sit
Sit down,
No,
Rabbi.
no, sit down.
But what is it?
Here's right,
Daf
with
Yomi?
that, he has a big kollel here in Telstone. This is Daf Yomi. We're going to be Megillah. So it's Chayav Inish the Psumei B'Purim. The Chayav, you give him a third of a shot. He says Chazi Litzarufe because half a shear is almost like a whole shear. It could be the rice from the Torah.
Yeah,
So we gave him a third of a shear. Show him that you gave him a third of a shear. This is a third of a shot, a little less than a half of a shot. You have to
Could be
drink.
according to the Taz, you have to make a bracha achrona.
All right, you'll
The
decide
Chazal
afterwards.
pays,
Megillah Chayim.
Okay, but I'm going to
Chayim Tov L'Shalom. You have to say before you drink it. Say Chayav Inish the Psumei. Say Chayav Inish the Psumei B'Puria.
Are you not going to shecht me, are you?
No, I'm not going to shech you. No.
Rabbi Zera.
No, only the next person who comes down and shech. You're the person.
Oh
man! Wow, this is amazing. The Rosh Kolo is joining the new movement. You have to now say Chayav Inish the Psumei B'Puria Ad Lo Yada. What is your pshat? You have a new pshat in Chayav Inish the Psumei?
A quick shot. A quick
shot. Let's
This is
hear
what
this.
I always say on Purim.
Yeah.
And I heard it from Gedoli Olam.
Yeah.
Kashem shevarchim al tov, kach mevorchim al ra. But so I could say in English. It's just like you make a bracha when you make a shechianu or tovumeti, something great happens. With the same simcha and the same argasha, to make a dynamis.
Okay.
It's the same. That is the pshat chayav inish lebesumi bepuria. Because when a person gets to the darga, they realize that the good and the bad come from Hashem, and there's no difference. So that's the darga he has to reach that he has no das. It says in the Gra that he has to. So the purpose of das is to be able to discertain and understand the difference between good and bad. So when you reach the darga that you realize that everything is from Hashem, the bad as well as the good, and there's no difference, you have to get that drunk to become the mitzvah of drinking. That's a pshat I say every year.
This is very good. Wow, amazing.
Okay.
Yeah, a new pshat.
That's a pshat I say every
Yesterday,
year.
someone came up with a pshat. They told me, the guy who drank with me, he said, Chayav Inish the Psumei B'Puria. He said, Puria is Lashon.
I remember who I heard. I read from so long I've been saying it. I heard it from Chashik.
All right, Shkoyach. Thank you, for joining the new movement. It's single malt, right?
This is better.
Oh, he has. Wait, what do you have here? You want to have single? Well, let's see what we have here. Can I see that?
No, it's not healthy. It's really not healthy.
Yeah, this is ramen soup. It goes very good with Glenlivet.
No.
I highly
Harry and the kid will go
recommend
better with
tomorrow.
Glenlivet.
Hopefully, we're gonna get people not just have a Chati Shir of Glenlivet, but you can fulfill your Suda's Purim.
I'm not
You
sure
have to have
can.
half of a
There's
raven soup.
There's a ritva that says you have to give a matana chashuva. He learns it from the Gemara.
I'm gonna talk about shuva, half of a ramen soup.
Half of a
This is Could you be Makayim your Suda's Purim with a ramen soup?
It's a ritva on the Gemara. Look at the ritva.
Could you be Makayim your mitzvah Suda's
No,
Purim with a ramen soup?
they gave to some very big rich person. Matanza of Yadim. You saw that?
Yeah, it's not that Gemara. The ritva says you have to give a matana chashuva.
Amazing.
All right. So now we have a new thing. Not just a half a shot, but half of a ramen soup also. Makayim Sudas Purim. All right, here we go. Yafel Yefes Vishkom Olei Shem. Dvaro Shal Yefes Yuba Olei Shem. The words of Yefet. Yefet was the patriarch of Greece. Would dwell in the Ole Shem. Ema Gomer Amago, also the descendants. Yavan wasn't the only descendant of Yefet. Also Gomer Amago. Why those languages also should be allowed to write in the Torah. Amar Bechia Bar Abba. Any time when they'll say Yafel Kim Yefet is repeated twice. If you so shall Yefes Kubal Shem, the beauty of Yefes. Greek is a more beautiful language than Gomer Amago. Mishnah says, Eme Kol Meshuach B'Shem and Amishcha Lemuru B'Gadim. There's no difference in a Kohen, Meshuach, Hashem, and a Mishka. Normally, when they had Kohanim Gedolim, they used to anoint them with olive oil. Eventually, in the time of King Yoshio, in the middle of Bayis Rishon, they hid the Shem and a Mishka, and they only were Makadesh, the Kohen Gadol, with he wore 8 begadim. When he wore the 8 begadim, Meruba begadim, al parabal called mitzvahs. The only difference between them, according to Tanna Kama, is the parabal called mitzvahs, the Kohen Gadol, when he errs and he makes a mistake, that's on a halacha, which is chayav kares, and he violates something which is kares based on his erroneous decision, he has to bring a parabal mitzvah. Only applied to a kohen and para Mashiach. It says mishka para kohen mashuach in the pasuk, not a kohen meruba begadim. He doesn't bring it. Ein ben kohen mishamish to kohen sha'avar. There's no difference between a kohen gadol who was mishamish now, or a kohen sha'avar, meaning a kohen gadol that replaced the kohen gadol. The kohen gadol got a tuma and he had to be replaced, so someone replaced him, and the kohen gadol got free from his tuma. He came back, and the previous the Kohen Gadol filled in becomes a Kohen Sha'avar. There's no difference in the two. Par Yom Kippur, the par Yom Kippur, or the bull that was brought by the Kohen Gadol on Yom Kippur to atone for his family and all the Kohanim, was only brought by the Kohen who was actively serving, and also a Sir Sa'ifa, which is 1/10 of an Ephah of flour that was called Chavite Kohen Gadol, is split into the morning and night, two portions. About 1/10 of an ephah is about 4.3 eggs, split into two. That was only brought by the Kohen actively serving. Whereas in according to the first thing, the difference in a Kohen who was anointed with olive oil and a Kohen just wore Meruba Begadim, they would both bring a par Yom Kippur and Series Ephah. Zevzeh Shavit. Masisin Lokar Meir. Mishnah not like a Meir. They're a Meir. Atanya Meruba Begadim maybe parabal kol mitzvos. He said there's really no distinction at all between Kohen Gadol Shuach and Kohen Gadol Meruba Begadim. He Kohen Meruba Begadim would also bring a par mitzvos. Divrei Meir. Chachamim ain't no maybe. Chachamim say not. My time Divrei Meir. It's reading Tanya Mashiach. It says in the pasuk by par kol mitzvos Mashiach. Ain't Le'elam Mashiach Mashem. I only know someone who's anointed with oil, but I'm a Mishcha. Meruba Begadim minai. How do you know even if he's just wears 8 begadim that he also brings a par kol mitzvos? I'm going to learn HaMashiach. The extra hey inclusive. Amayo Kimna, what do you say? Our Mishnah is the Lokar Meir. Mishnah is not like a Meir. I'm going to say the end of our Mishnah. Amen. Kom Mishamish is Kohen Sha'avar. Alapar Yom Kippur Masir Sa'ifa. Halachol Divrein Zevzeh Shavim. Regarding to everything else, Kohen Sha'avar and the Kohen that is actively the Kohen Gadol are exactly the same. Masan Rameir. That actually fits according to Rameir. The sign of Irbo Psul. Let's say there was a Tuma. Umina Kohen Achar Tachtav. There's a new Kohen Gadol. Rishon Chos. That's when the first one comes back. He goes back to being Kohen Gadol Sheni, the interim Kohen Gadol, Kol Mitzvahs Kahuna Gedola, all of Divrei Meir. He has to fulfill all the mitzvahs Kohen Gadol. He is like Kohen Gadol, except for the two things that are Mishnah. Rabbi Yossi Omer, not at all. Rishon Chos Avedasa Sheni Ein Roy Lola Kohen Gadol Kohen Hedyor. He can't be either one. He's nothing. He's not even a Kohen Hedyor. But Amar Rabbi Yossi Ma'aser Rabbi Yosef ben Al Ulam Misipori Yosef ben Ulam Misipori Sheira. We're going a little late today. Sheira Psul Kohen Gadol. He had a tumor, the Kohen Gadol, Minu Tachtav, and they appointed someone else instead. Uba Ma'aser they come with Amar Rishon Chos Avedasa Sheni Ein Roy Kohen Gadol Kohen Hedyor. Kohen Gadol he can't be Mishum Eva. He's going to cause contempt and envy because there'll be two Kohen Gadols. Kohen Hedyor, he can't be in a Kohen Hedyor. Mishum Ma'am Kodesh. You can't go down to Kedusha. He was a Kohen Gadol. He can't go back to being a Kohen Hedyor. Reish Rabbanim say for Rameir. The first part of Mishnah is Rabbanim. The second part is Rameir. Rameir says they're the same. Amar Rav Chisda in Reish Rabbanim say for Rameir. Yeah, you'll say it. It's hard to say sometimes. We'll capitulate and say that the beginning of the Mishnah is Rabbanan. Say for Rameir. Rabbi Yosef Amar Rabbi even Nasil Ali tonight. Rabbi Yosef is different. And says the author of Mishnah is Rabbi, and Rabbi picked and chose who he felt the halacha was like. So the Reish he picked the Rabbanan, and the Sefer picked Rameir. The Mishnah ain't been Bama Gedolu Bamaktana El Psachim. There's no difference in a Bama Gedola and a Bamaktana. There were certain periods in Jewish history when the Mishkan was in Novin Givon, or when it was in a place before Shiloh, I forgot what it was. Gilgal, right? Gilgal and Novin Givon. These are interim periods where Bamos were allowed. They didn't have a Mishkan really, so they had altars. Bama Gedola, it was a public altar, where they brought things that were not voluntary offerings. Bama Gedola was private altars you could bring in your backyard. Certain times they're mutter. El Psachim. The only difference is Psachim. Karm Psachim can only brought on a Bama Gedola, not a Bama Gedola. Zaklau. Anything which is, you would voluntarily bring, so that could be brought on a Bama. If you want to bring on a Bama Ktana, a personal altar in your backyard, you can only bring something which is voluntary. If it's not voluntary, you can't bring a Bama Ktana, only a Bama Gedola. Gemara says Psachim is Sula. The only difference is from Psachim, Emakate, right? It really, Psachim is just an example. Psachim is something which is a Chova. There's also Kavul Osman. It has a specific time. Like Karman Pesach, like Karman Talmud also has to be brought every day. Gemara says Emakate Psachim. Psachim is an example. So Gemara says, Mani, who is our Mishnah? Reb Shimon is Reb Shimon, the son of Reb Shimon. Omer Af Sibor Lo Ikrivu El Psachim. The Sibor and the Bama Gedola, they only brought Psachim and obligatory offerings where they had a time, like a Musaf or Rosh Chodesh or the Karman Tamid. But a Chova, like a Baal called Mitzvos, that's Sanhedrin and the Kohen Gadol makes a mistake, it's a Chova to bring a Karban, but it's not Kavul Azman, you don't know what's going to happen. So that wasn't put, neither on a Bama Gedola, not a Bama Ktana. That's Reb Shimon's opinion. But according to the Rabbanan, they would say that it could be brought on Bama Gedola. But that will include today's Shir, or maybe a new movement, ramen soup, half a ramen soup, and half a shot. Mekaya, and a mit, betoch, in the middle of your Sudas Purim.